Meeting to order the Blackhawk County Board of Supervisors for April 24th, 2018. Roll call, Mr. Veeder.
Leyland,
Here.
Little,
Here.
Magsman,
Here.
Schwartz,
Here.
White.
Here. Have a moment of silence to reflect on our actions of the day. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Have the agenda received as proposed or as amended?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Public comments. Anybody from the public that'd like to comment about anything other than what's on the agenda for today? If so, please come to the microphone, state your name and address, and
We're commenting on what you're going to do, not because it was an amendment to the agenda. Is that what we're commenting on? Actions that you're going to take, or,
action that we're going, other than what we're going to take, other than action that we're going to take.
no, I want to talk on action that you're going to.
Okay, all right. You can speak at the time we come to that, sir.
Craig, want to mention that he's on the phone?
Oh, yeah. We have Supervisor Schwartz present by phone. Next is claims and payment resolution to approve expenditures for the county. Susan?
The county's expenditures this week total $313,351.82, 313,351.82.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? This is a resolution. Please answer as your name is called.
Leyland,
Yes.
Little,
Yes.
Magsman,
Yes.
Schwartz,
Yes.
White.
Yes, resolution adopted. This is a resolution to approve expenditures for Country View Cares Facility.
Country View's expenditures this week total $94,365.79, 94,365.79.
Motion for approval?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion on any of the items? This resolution, please answer as your name is called.
Little,
Yes.
Magsman,
Yes.
Schwartz,
Yes.
Leyland,
Yes.
White.
Yes, resolution adopted. Next is receive project updates from department heads and elected officials. Morning.
Morning, Board. Ryan
Morning.
Brennan, the Assistant Engineer. This week, with the nice weather, we will be placing rock and have the trucks and graders out on the gravel road, shaping those up. We have also, as of Monday, closed Marquee Road for culvert replacements. We anticipate they're going to be out there anywhere between 4 and 6 weeks replacing those. This is in advance of our paving project for next year. Are there any questions?
You said 4 to 6 weeks?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Morning, Nafisa.
Good morning, Board.
Morning.
Dr. Nafisa Cisse-Bonnier, Public Health Director for Blackhawk County. I'm just here to give a brief update with our fiscal year 17 annual report that you all have in front of you. The annual report was structured based on the 10 essential services of public health. And in each area, you'll see what our programs have been and what we focused on. Fiscal year 17, we've really, our efforts have been in infrastructure building and building capacity for public health accreditation, and also implementing effective performance management system for their entire department. We have continued to do that for fiscal year 18, and hopefully fiscal year 19 will continue to build on that structure. Any questions for me? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Morning, Mike.
Morning, Board. Mike Hendrickson, Director of County Conservation. I've got a couple of updates in conservation. The big one being the Cedar Valley Nature Trail, the FEMA project. We are moving forward with that finally. Thursday night's Conservation Board meeting, they did approve a contractor. We accepted bids, open bids on March 28th. Bids came in quite nicely. The board approved a bid from Lodge Construction for repair of the Cedar Valley Nature Trail, and that bid was $178,663. Total project cost then for that trail will be $250,405. Barring anything unforeseen, but it is a large project, and anything like that, they do go ahead and cover the actual cost. So we're covered in that phase. That's moving forward. They have a 40-day finish period, 40 work days. Their late start date is May the 28th, so we do feel, barring Mother Nature taking us out of commission, we should have that trail repaired and running sometime during the warm season. So we're very happy about that. We were afraid that it might run into the fall, but it looks like we might get that done. So that's moving forward. We're in great shape there. And just a reminder, federal reimbursement for that 75%. The state reimbursement's 10% and local is 15%. So we have that moving forward. Yesterday I was in Des Moines. We were reviewing LawCon, or they were reviewing LawCon grants. We had applied for one. If you remember, in our budget, we asked for $40,000 to start phase 1 of the electrical replacement at Hickory Hills. Our project did score enough to be eligible, so we're in the running. If they allot the money that they feel like they have, we will get that funded, and we will get 2 phases taken care of in this fiscal year, or fiscal year 19, as we move forward. So we're very happy about that, and we plan to try to do the same thing next year and try to knock that out in 2 years instead of 4. So that's moving ahead, we feel like. And then one other thing, at the board meeting Thursday night, we had been notified a while ago by gaming that they had some discretionary allotment funds that they were giving out for special projects. We submitted 3 projects. One of those projects was repair of the shower building facility in Blackhawk Park. In our capital budget for fiscal year 19, we had asked you for $10,000 to do the men's side. It was in the worst shape. You gave us that. We found out Thursday night that project was pulled, and they have allotted us, we got one of their $10,000 grants. So what we're doing with that is that will repair the ladies' side of the shower, so we'll get it all done in one shot, and we won't be bringing that back to you. So anyway, it was great news, and we appreciate gaming once again. They've done a lot for us.
Thank you.
Great report.
Any questions at all?
Thank you.
Thanks for your
Thank
work,
you.
Mike.
Yeah.
Any other department heads or elected officials? If not, minutes approved for April
So moved.
17, 2018.
Second.
Moved and seconded, discussion. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Consent agenda by resolution.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion on any of the items? This resolution, please answer your name as called.
Maxman,
Yes.
Schwartz,
Yes.
Leyland,
Yes.
Little,
Yes.
White.
Yes, resolution adopted. Next is reports. Is he here?
I don't see him.
Updates from Ben Delegardelle, Urban Services. Moving on, motion to receive and place on file with County Auditor, the Blackhawk County Health Department's annual report is recommended by Health Department Director.
So moved.
Second.
I don't want to mispronounce that.
No,
Bonnier.
Yep. Yeah.
You got a second?
Do I got a second?
Second.
Votes. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed,
Aye.
motion carried. Next is contracts and agreement. This is a resolution that the contract between Blackhawk County and Aspro Incorporated, or Waterloo, Iowa, project LFM 05147X07 for hot mix asphalt resurfacing on Raymond Road, 1/4 mile south of the Donald Street intersection to Donald Street intersection, with a total bid of $164,920.81. Late start June 25th. Working days 25.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion on this item?
This was a contract we received and opened bids for here a few weeks ago. This is just the contract back from Aspro again. The bids came in very comparable to what we expected, so we would recommend you guys sign the contract, and we will get moving forward with the project this summer.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. This resolution, please answer as your name is called.
Schwartz,
Yes.
Leyland,
Yes.
Little,
Yes.
Maxman,
Yes.
White.
Yes, resolution adopted. Next is a resolution that the contract for library services between Blackhawk County and the Board of Trustees of the Public Libraries in the cities of Cedar Falls, Dunkerton, Evansdale, Hudson, Janesville, LaPorte City, and Waterloo at a total amount of $146,000 be approved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion on this. This was taken care of during our annual budget hearing. This resolution, please answer as your name is called.
Leyland,
Yes.
Little,
Yes.
Maxman,
Yes.
Schwartz,
Yes.
White,
Yes, resolution adopted. Next is a motion that the appointment of Diane Depkin as a member of the Blackhawk County Board of Adjustment be approved effective April 24th, 2018.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and second. Any discussion? Up to the microphone, sir. Give your name and address.
Harold Youngblood, 643 East Griffith Road, Waterloo, Iowa. I'm not a private detective, but you Google that woman's name, and what do you think the first thing that comes up? Have any of you researched into her whatsoever? Or have you just said, this is the person that's going to vote the way we want, and we're going to put her on the board?
She was interviewed by 2 supervisors.
Okay? And did those supervisors Google her name, do any research whatsoever? Because the first thing that comes up is a Waterloo Courier article.
In regards to what, sir?
In regards to her. And
In regards to what?
her as an individual. Is this the type of individual that we want? And I hesitate because I'm not here to shame her. I'm not here to ridicule her. I'm here to ask you if you did your homework and if this is the type of person that we want to represent Blackhawk County.
As far, sir, we don't do.
All right, I'm going to read the article then.
We don't do background checks.
Headline.
As long as that isn't a character attack, because is the individual here today?
No.
So she can't defend herself. So I'd say you're kind of walking on a slippery slope right now.
This was in the
Okay,
paper.
it's public record,
It's-
so
and-
you feel like
and-
you gotta read it.
Diane Depkin, 57, of 1605 Cherry Lane, Cedar Falls. That was the other thing. I questioned, where does she live? This was 2 years ago. So everybody moves. It's possible that she does not live in the city. But at this time, she lived at 1605 Cherry Lane. She was arrested May 18th for third-degree harassment and possession of marijuana after she was accused, and I won't go into that part. During the arrest, the authorities allegedly found 2 unsmoked and 3 partially smoked marijuana cigarettes in Depkin's purse. The deputies, and I'll skip because I'm trying not to attack her, I'm just giving you what the authorities said, that said Depkin had been pacing and yelling and at her, filmed at her, and this was the plaintiff, and backed her into a corner in an attempt to provoke her. After talking with other witnesses, the deputies chose to arrest her. You had 7 people that applied for that position. I was one of them. I got kicked out because of diversity of wanting a woman on the board. No complaint.
Gender balance.
Okay.
Not the.
That's the
All
law.
right.
Yeah.
That's the
So
law.
I'm not here to complain that I didn't get interviewed. But I also went to your office and pulled the other people who had applied. And you Google search those people. Nothing like this comes up. You had a choice between someone that has character like this and a doctor. I don't know what Pat Beck does. I think she works for UNI or Hawkeye Tech. This Mrs. Corey over here, I don't know what she works. But you chose to take someone with those things within 2 years ago happening. And there's a ton of other things that I'm not going to bring up. But you just go to our Blackhawk County court system and check it out. Other thing, we want to have all of the county represented, correct? Look at where two members of the Board of Adjustments already live, that two members of the Board of Adjustments that live and already are on, and now you're going to add a third, and you draw a circle, and they're all within about 5 miles of each other. Maybe 6 as the crow flies. So how does one part of the county get to represent all of us? You're not spreading it out. You're overloading one area. That's not what your goals are supposed to be. We're supposed to represent everybody throughout the county, not one area. So I ask that she does not get appointed to this board. And you, if you have to do another search or appoint the other person that you interviewed, because she's much more qualified for what Blackhawk County is supposed to be about. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yep. I'm happy to address those questions again with you, Harold, if we need to, because you and I know, have exchanged some of those comments. Yes, please, come
Come to the
forward.
microphone, ma'am. Give your name, address.
I'm Dr. Ellen Secornbut. I live at 11790 Kimball Avenue for the past 16 years. I have several questions for the board to address, but I'll finish my questions and then wait for a response. First of all, I would like to know when Ms. Depkin was called for her appointment and when she was actually physically interviewed here at the courthouse. I submitted my application and it was available to you on the 15th of April. I was called Friday at about 1:15. I was on my way out of town and I changed some of my plans, made myself available, and came all the way down here from the south part of the county and gave of myself for an interview that afternoon at some inconvenience to me. And I'd like to know when she was interviewed. When I was leaving at about 2:30, I was told that you had 2 or 3 more other candidates to interview. And I would like to know when they were interviewed. And as I understood, the afternoon when I was trying to figure out a time I could interview, I was offered Friday afternoon, Saturday morning, and since I was going to be out of town all weekend, I was even offered Sunday evening. So I would assume that if the board was willing to interview me at those times, it would be willing to interview other people. And in my third question, I want to know in which way, and very specific, and here on the public record, how this candidate was superior to me in a professional and personal sense. I have many, many decades of having served the public. I worked for 3 state governments, and in the 4th state, I still serve the public in a nonprofit corporation. During that time, my specific educational and research focus, as well as delivering direct patient care, was largely focused on providing for the special needs of rural communities. It has been a lifelong devotion of mine, and even my business that I run now is devoted to products that come from small farm communities. And I do that out of belief and not out of profiting personally, because it'd be much cheaper for me to sell Australian wool than U.S. wool. I also have decades of having done extensive work in the area of human subjects safety, because I served on institutional review boards reviewing research applications to make sure that that research projects didn't hurt human beings. And I have been a clinical research director on numerous clinical research projects. And I'm especially adept at assessing safety issues in the medical literature area, as I expressed in my interview. and I have publications that back up that, and that's actually my expertise, is in reviewing other people's research. So besides its history and my experience as a small business owner, running a small business, living in a rural area and using internet and other services in that small business in the particular geographic area that I live now, I think my record is outstanding. And so I want to know how this individual was superior to me, and I would like to have this comment made in the open meeting, and here's why. Because when I submitted my application, I went to the trouble of creating a third email so that my personal email that I use for family issues would not have, if I did become a Board of Adjustments member, that I would have a focused email account which was for that, and my personal email would not be having things come in, and that there wouldn't be cross-contamination or I wouldn't miss something. And I created a resume specifically for this purpose, because when you do the kind of work I do, you know, you normally don't do resumes, you do CVs, and my academic CV would have been burdensome for you to look at 20-some pages. And that is on public record now for 2 years, because it was stated that that's what happens when you submit your information. So people know where I've lived, they know what positions I held. It will be available to the public for the next 2 years, everything about me since I graduated from high school. And since I have submitted that information in the public domain for the purpose of serving the public, then I'd like to have this made public as well. So with that, I will step down, and I thank you very much.
Thank you.
One issue addressed so Debkin was interviewed at 9 a.m. on Saturday morning. So, and I'm not going to get into comparing resumes between individuals that apply for the board. We do our best to try to select individuals that we feel will serve the entire Black Hawk County. And by state code, we are required to have individuals from incorporated areas in the county and unincorporated areas from the county. This position was in an unincorporated area of the county.
And I would like to add, and Harold, you're correct, there were 7 applicants for this particular position, and that was probably a record number that we've ever had for Board of Adjustment, and in the time frame that we had as well. I'm sure I'll miss someone, but as I explained to you, 2 of those applicants were males, so they were not considered because of the gender balance. We did have 1 individual that didn't complete the application, that only answered 1 question out of 6, and it's quite a simplified form, as everyone could, it takes a look. And there was 1 individual that was within the Cedar Falls city limits, and so that person was disqualified also, so the pool became much smaller. I was going to say today that the 2 candidates that we did interview were both excellent, and I was going to say that before Dr. Sikornit, I hope I didn't mispronounce your name, spoke. They were both commendable in the fact that both said, when we interviewed them, both came and said they had applied no perceived opinion on the project. That was important to us. That was something that we didn't want to get into the wind topic. Everybody knows the project that's out there. Everybody knows it's a high-profile project, but they came with no preconceived notions on it. Now, if you don't believe that of one, you probably don't believe it of any. So you can sit there and shake your head if you don't. I'm sorry.
Excuse me, Linda,
Yes.
but you mentioned that the wind project was going to come up.
Yes. And how important it was.
And I was asked, was I comfortable making decisions where people might get upset?
Yes.
That's what I was asked.
Yes, you were.
I was not asked anything. Had I read on wind projects, had I read the health effects of wind projects, I was actually asked no direct questions, only was I comfortable making a decision without dealing with the emotions involved, dealing with facts and making a decision based on facts.
Yes.
And that is the only thing I was asked.
Well, that's not the only thing, but that's all right. We can talk about that later. But I was going to say, both were also asked if they were willing to do the research that was needed in that short period of time to take that application binder and review that. Because to do the project, just to be justified, I guess, in making any kind of a responsible decision, they needed to do that. Both of those individuals were willing to do that. And just the fact that they would step up in front of an audience that I said would be highly opposed, a lot of opposition, and be faced for that being their first meeting, I said they both were to be commended, that anybody was willing to do that. So they both came with high credentials from education, both strong with rural interest and ag interest. So, like I said, we're not here to dispute who was the superior. I think there was someone else that mentioned they thought they were the better candidate too. But that's not always the case. We base it on some different decisions. But I am sorry that it's come to this, and there seems to be a distrust for us to do what we did. When we called the individuals, we called them at the same time to set up interviews. That was the time, and we realized it was at that late date. It was very unfortunate. We were surprised to get hold of both individuals and ask for the options of when they could meet, knowing it was very limited, the time frame. And the closer it got to the meeting, it was probably not going to be something anybody'd want to step into. So the fact that you were willing to come, Ellen, on that day was remarkable, and I know you were packed, ready to go out of town, so that you stopped to do that before you left. We appreciated that. So I do thank you for your efforts. I thank you for your interest. I'm not sure, I'd have to ask Pete this question. I'm not certain on the clarification of making your information public. We will have that on file. We said we'd keep it in our records that they applied. Does that mean that the public can come in and have
Yes, I think
access
so.
to that? But we don't publish it.
I don't know
It's
whether you
not.
publish it or not, but
So-
I think it is available.
So I am sorry that that's how you feel.
Did you
Oh.
Come to the microphone, please. Mr. Youngblood. Oops.
Harold Youngblood, 643 East Griffith. Did you verify her address?
Yes, we verified.
I know
the
she
address.
owns a house on Jubilee. Does she live in that house? Did you verify she lives in that house? I take that as a no.
Well, I guess if you want to say that, I didn't verify with anyone that they lived in the house. I didn't, Dr. Sikornit as well. I didn't say, do you live in that house?
Okay, since it has to be an unincorporated area, I
Yes.
think that would probably be, since we have evidence of her living in Cedar Falls, which would automatically kick her out.
Well, her address, as it's stated on her application,
That's
is
the
Jubilee.
address that she provided. That's her residence.
So you know that it's her residence.
That's, yes.
I've not gone out there and knocked on her door, no.
Okay. And the second thing is, I think Supervisor Schwartz should probably recuse himself because of she's a colleague. So him voting would probably be inappropriate since they're work colleagues. Thank you.
Colleagues of what?
They're both UNI professors.
I am not a UNI professor, sir.
What's
I don't
your-
know where you got that information from.
What is your connection with UNI?
I attended the University of Northern Iowa like a number of other board members.
Okay, then it's my mistake. I thought you were a professor at UNI.
I certainly wish I had a PhD. That would be wonderful.
Okay.
Any other comments, questions? Yes, ma'am.
My name is Kathy Corey. I live at 11528 Beck Road, Waterloo. If I was the one that didn't complete the application, I was not notified that it wasn't complete, but I was notified that the application was complete. I do have that notification.
Was she the one?
I'd have to look back at the applications again, but
Okay. I have verifiable, no doubt resident of Black Hawk County for 50 years. 20 of these years have been where I reside now in rural Black Hawk County. I applied for the position with the Board of Adjusters because I felt I would be a valuable and moral addition to the BOA of Black Hawk County. I did not hear anything from the Board of Supervisors, and I'm wondering why I was not contacted for an interview. I have never been arrested or have ever had any charges brought against me for any reason, ever. If this is the kind of person we would accept to make decisions for Black Hawk County, I am not sure this is where I would want to continue to live. If not me, then there has to be other, better applicants that have applied. You should be ashamed of yourselves for even considering Mrs. Depkin as a spokesperson for Black Hawk County and for making decisions for us. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't appreciate the fact that we're really making comments like this about an individual that's not here to defend themselves.
Well, number one, ma'am, I'm a citizen. I've been a citizen of Black Hawk County my whole life too, and I've made mistakes in my life that everyone makes mistakes in their life. You know, as far that's I don't know what type of thing that is. I think that's probably a misdemeanor. So you know, that's no different than speeding.
I
Beg to differ.
with that. Why was I not contacted?
And I didn't know about it. We don't do background checks on people. You know, we don't. It's not part of the process. Maybe we should do. You know, if we dig into people's, I don't think it's proper to dig into people's lives myself. If a person's big enough to step forward and say they want to serve the county, that's good enough for me, because there ain't too many people that volunteer to do anything in this community anymore. I'm a member of a lot of organizations, and there's a lot of seats you could be sitting on that are empty, and people don't volunteer anymore.
But you had 7 volunteers this time. Why was I
Yeah,
not contacted?
and some of them did fill out the application. I wasn't privy to the last part of it. We always have 2 people that do the interviews. Mr. Maxman and Miss Leyland were the ones that did the interviews this time. I don't think
She asked the question why she was not contacted. You haven't addressed that yet.
Well, we'd have to pull out her information again and take a look at it as why we made the selection we did. Be happy to do that and talk to you
But
about
we
it.
usually notify all candidates after the fact.
After the fact, we
If they haven't
notify
been
them
selected.
that it was over.
So what after the fact means would be something like today on approval or not approval. Then you would get a letter from Black Hawk County.
Yeah. Anyone else? I have a motion. Do I have a motion in a second?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Nobody else is going to go.
Come up to the microphone, give your name and address, sir.
My name is Greg Corey. I live at 11528 Beck Road, Waterloo, Iowa. I've been a 50-year rural resident of Black Hawk County. I also applied for that position and was not contacted because of my gender. I, my family, and my neighbors respectfully object to the timing of this appointment and wish to voice the serious concerns we have with the proposed BOA candidate. It would seem that there are many people who want to serve on this board position, and none of them had an opportunity to be heard or their merits evaluated before this person was selected. We feel that appointing a new member to the Board of Adjustments with this level of haste is not good government. Appointing any candidate the day of a very important and life-altering vote does not serve all the citizens of Black Hawk County. You are placing this appointee at a severe disadvantage by asking the appointee to decide on a very contentious issue with absolutely no time to study the issue or talk to the people that she is supposed to represent. The candidate will have just hours to study the issues, just hours to study BOA law and procedures, and just hours to hear and research neighboring citizen input. This is not an issue deciding whether or not someone can have a garage too close to their neighboring property line, or whether or not a farm acreage can be subdivided twice. The Board of Supervisors has had just hours to thoroughly vet this candidate. There are questions that need to be vetted about this candidate's rural residency. Another concern is, why do all the rural BOA members have to come from the LaPorte City area? Should we be selecting from a more diverse group? Why such a hurry to appoint a candidate just days after Ms. Cafaro's resignation? So many unanswered questions. We do not believe this is the best candidate to represent all of rural Blackhawk County and make unbiased research decisions on the public health, safety, morals, comfort, and welfare of all of Blackhawk County rural residents. We ask the Board of Supervisors to vote no. I request to submit these articles and make it part of the record of these proceedings.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Grant. Thank you. Anyone else? Still have the motion and a second on the floor for approval. Ask for a roll call vote on this.
Biddle,
Yes.
Maxman,
Yes.
Schwartz,
Yes.
Leyland,
Yes.
White.
Yes, resolution adopted. Anything else to come before us today?
Steve Rozier, I'm the chairman of the Board of Adjustment. I know you had a lot of applicants, all that. I don't care who they are. I'm just concerned about the concept that they haven't had time to look over everything. So I just want to let you guys know that. I mean, do we handle that the same way as normal, or I'm coming to ask you?
Do we handle what?
A person that, I mean, the scope of what we have before us, everybody that's been on the Board of Adjustments has known that this is coming for months. So we've had time to look at it. There's been all kinds of information. I'm talking for it and against it, and to be able to digest it, look it over, and make a good decision. I haven't made my decision yet. It's got to be tonight yet. So the question I have is, with the lack of time that she's going to have, and I know it's a tough place. It was a tough place you guys got put into because somebody walked off the board just prior to it.
It was. And I will answer that because Della Cafaro contacted me about the resignation and then submitted it that day. I did tell her it was very unfortunate, the timing of this, particularly because of this project. And I asked if she would remain on the board another month or at least through this project, and all to be fair to everyone. She had several things. Maybe she shared them with you. She's had several reasons that she offered to get off, and so she just wasn't willing to reconsider that. She did say she'd be out of town for the meeting. I said she was certainly welcome to call in, that we'd prefer that. I had no idea it would be a 5-hour meeting at that time, but I did say she would be able to hear both sides, of the arguments presented, and so she still was unwilling. Anyone else can say this too, but I was going to say we weighed very heavily whether or not to fill the position, or if we should just leave it as it was.
I'm not suggesting
No.
fill the position. That's not what I'm saying.
No, but there was whether or not we would fill the position because of the timing and this important project. We weighed that very heavily. I think it weighed on all of us of what was the right thing to do. I can only speak for myself in that sense that we went ahead, posted the position to see if there was any interest. I will say for all of you that applied, I assume it's to be commended that all of you applied. When we've had Board of Adjustment, P&Z, almost any committee that we, or a board, their commission that we ask for, we rarely get applications. So that anyone is as interested as they are is interesting to me, but I'll let it go at that. But I hope that you're all willing to serve in the future. That would be great. And that you take such interest in finding good candidates and helping us screen people. That's great, because recommendations and referrals are always helpful when you know individuals that are going to be serving. Most times people don't even know what county government does, let alone what some of our committees and commissions and boards do. So this individual has been given information. She's received the same notebook that you all did in the application information. I realize she'll only know vaguely probably some of the concerns. We were approached yesterday by Mrs. Beck, who asked to have the email address of the applicant, and we said if she was approved at this meeting, we would get that to her so she could forward as much information as she could, recognizing it's short time. But
my concern isn't about the person; it's about
it's the
whoever.
process.
It's whoever, because of the time. That's my concern.
That's a concern for us as well. But I think for the integrity of the process, the project, and for your board, it needed to be a 5-position board, in my opinion, rather than 4. It wasn't going to be a project we were going to delay or wait till somebody had more information or somebody had enough opportunity to talk to these individuals, that would be great, but that wasn't going to happen, so. I'm sorry.
Just wanted to.
Yeah.
My
If
concern
anybody
is-
else has comments, and Harold, as we're past your time to talk, I believe.
Yeah,
Mr.
I guess
Gunn,
just one other comment is that although the binder is, considerable,
most of it's.
a lot of it is made up of maps, etc. The individual indicated, she is a professor at UNI, does a lot of research, and particularly environmental, and that she was comfortable that she could look through this information and make an educated decision on it.
I just needed to just
Yeah.
let you know, that's what I'm concerned about that.
If she's appointed today, she may contact you, because they said she was free to contact then board members, staff, or any of the residents, so.
Okay, okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have one quick question to something you said.
You
Oh.
can address her after the meeting, Mr. It doesn't have to be in.
Well, it's about everybody, because Harold Youngblood, 643 East
Know your
Griffith.
address.
So you gave her the manuals yesterday before she was appointed? You had already decided she was going to be appointed before this meeting?
We had to put that item on the agenda,
But
as you know.
if you gave her the manuals, you had already decided that she was appointed?
We didn't decide.
No, we
I
didn't
hadn't
decide.
So as an applicant, I didn't get a manual.
You weren't one of the people that was a finalist, sir. Don't start nitpicking, please.
Yeah,
I didn't get a manual.
you had
And I
opportunity.
actually had written, I had read all the stuff that I could
Went
get
through
hold
it,
of
it's
beforehand.
over.
Yeah. We meant you were out of town until late Sunday night, you informed us, and we could be in touch with you Monday morning, where we could get that information to you. You, I'm sorry, weren't the applicant, so we didn't send that information to your house. Thank you.
I have a quick question.
Yes, sir.
Greg Corey, 11528 Beck Road. My question is now that you've appointed this person, how do the neighbors in Black Hawk County contact her today and get our research, our information, our health concerns, our property value concerns? How do we get all that information to this lady so that she can read through it in the next 6 hours and make a fair and balanced decision for the county?
Is that information given at the P&Z meeting?
Some of it has, some of it has not. P&Z meeting had different issues that we addressed. BOA is going to have separate. Some are going to be the same, but there are separate issues. We're just asking for a fair shake. You're saying
Her
she's going to
email
study.
address is available.
Yeah.
So we can possibly email her, and she's got 6 hours to read through our massive amount of research and compare that and contrast that against the huge voluminous application that RPMA has put in. That's not fair. That's not good government. Can somebody give me her email address and her phone number so we can start
will.
contacting her as fast as
Yep,
possible?
we will after the meeting.
All right, thank you.
We can get it at the desk, sir. Anything else to come before us? Entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, aye.
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 Opposed, we are adjourned. Thank you.